Imagine trying to engineer a terrifying dark warlord, and your only raw components are a pair of sentient, floating cerebral masses. It sounds like a complete structural disaster, yet Skull Knight stands as one of the most enigmatic and visually striking anomalies in yugioh lore. If we scrutinize the anatomy of this creature, it becomes clear we are looking at a masterclass in macabre bioarchitecture. His thoracic carapace isn't just armor, it's a calcified, bleached skeletal face whose hollow ocular cavities glow with a chilling, violet internal energy. Rising above this, massive crimson horns with hyperstriated texturing erupt laterally from his cranium, creating a silhouette that screams absolute authority. Look closely at that left appendage. He completely eschews a traditional defensive buckler, opting instead for a grotesque, bioorganic osseous gauntlet that mimics a screaming human face. In his right grip, he balances a broad-bladed, single-edged falchion featuring a heavy, bone-like guard. The entire entity is enveloped in a swirling vortex of deep crimson and obsidian shadows, emerging as a dark magus forged from pure anatomical horror. When you think about a creature clad in bones, the mind immediately jumps to mindless, reanimated skeletons clinking around in a dungeon. But Skull Knight possesses a radically different personality because of his bizarre genesis. He is the direct product of a cognitive merger between ancient brain and tainted wisdom. Talk about a mind-blowing evolution. This means his personality isn't driven by mindless bloodlust, but by a hyper-calculating, cold, and malicious intellect. He represents absolute cerebral dominance over physical form. Every strike with that heavy blade isn't an act of reckless rage, it's a calculated mathematical equation executed with terrifying psychological precision. He is a silent strategist, a quiet watcher who values absolute tactical efficiency, observing the battlefield with a detached, scientific curiosity before delivering a single, lethal, fiercely calculated blow. This brilliant mentality explains his precise placement within the hierarchy of the dual monsters cosmos. Despite his components being strictly classified as fiends, Skull Knight crosses a fascinating evolutionary threshold to become a spellcaster. In the grand tapestry of this universe, he is a dread magus who abandoned standard fleshly limitations to craft a permanent, weaponized skeletal matrix. He represents the ultimate convergence where demonic raw energy meets structured, high-tier arcane sorcery. He doesn't just cast spells from afar, he embodies the spell itself, acting as a high-ranking enforcer within dark mystical orders, bridging the gap between underworld entities and elite occult academies. His historical narrative further cements this legendary status. In ancient historical settings, particularly during the shadow conflicts of ancient Egypt, Skull Knight manifested as a devastating vanguard for high-tier sorcerers and dark priests. He was the ultimate equalizer brought forth to dismantle opposing armies. When you look at his relationships with other entities, the contrast is hilarious. Take the iconic Skull Servant lineage. While that archetype represents a humorous, fragile pile of reanimated bones struggling to survive, Skull Knight is the apex predator of osteological mutation. He also acts as a dark, distorted mirror to creatures like Skull Guardian, showing what happens when ritualistic protection is completely corrupted by forbidden, brain-altering dark arts. The real-world design inspirations here are equally compelling, heavily drawing from the grimdark aesthetics popularized by Kentaro Miura's legendary manga, Berserk, while blending Western necromantic imagery with traditional Japanese yokai lore. But the ultimate piece of trivia surrounding him lies in a bizarre, hyper-obscure piece of history called Yasushi the Skull Knight. This was an illegal, real-world tournament prize card awarded back in 2001 that actually listed a normal trap card as a required fusion material. It is an absolute rule-breaker that completely shattered the established mechanics of early printing history, making Skull Knight a literal outlaw both in lore and reality. What if that humanoid body isn't actually a body at all? Consider the materials that made him. Two disembodied brains shouldn't have muscles or bones. It's highly probable that the humanoid form is a hollow, telekinetically secreted exoskeleton. The true sentient nexus of Skull Knight might actually be the screaming face embedded on his thoracic plate, or perhaps the distorted osseous gauntlet on his left arm. The warrior body, the flowing robes, and the massive falchion could just be a functional, bone puppet tripod engineered by those combined brains to interact with the physical world, while the true cosmic horror remains hidden in plain sight, pulling the skeletal strings from within.